There ain't no grave can hold my body down. There ain't no grave can hold my body down.
So does Lamar have to answer any questions to me as a football player on the field? We all know he's terrific. It's the supporting cast around him that needs to help him. And I think you saw that on the sidelines. The first time I ever saw him going after a receiver, he's always just kind of cool, calm, and collected. But that wasn't the case last night because I'm sure he's a little frustrated.
How come everybody understands that Lamar Jackson is the heart and soul of that team and that everybody else on the Baltimore Ravens roster has to pull their own weight, but Stephen A. Smith don't see that? And I like that Rob Ninkovich articulated the fact that Lamar Jackson needs more help from his supporting cast. But let's hear what Stephen A. Smith has to say about Lamar Jackson.
Absolutely.
You're wrong. And I'm going to tell you why you're wrong, Rob.
Man, this guy is so full of himself. He likes to tell people that they're wrong, but Stephen A. Smith, you being the lead analyst on First Take, is what's wrong.
Ninkovich.
I would love to know.
And, because, you're being too kind. You're being too kind because we all want to be kind to Lamar Jackson because he's phenomenal. He's great. He's looking for a new contract. He deserves it. If Josh Allen gets 6 years, $258 million, he probably deserves more.
Stephen A. Smith always uses reverse psychology. He always states the obvious. It's obvious that Lamar Jackson is going to get paid very well because he is the most popular player in the NFL besides Patrick Mahomes. Of course, Lamar Jackson is going to get paid very well unless he takes the Tom Brady route and sacrifice some of his salary for better players.
Because the brother's box office. He's not just great, he's box office.
Oh, and Stephen A. Smith is racist to his own kind. Like, the white counterparts, the white analysts, support more black players on First Take than Stephen A. Smith has. That's why you see the meme, Max Kellerman more blacker than Stephen A. Smith. I mean, even Tim Tebow has defended guys like Cam Newton and Lamar Jackson, in which you'll see later in this video. But notice how every time Stephen A. Smith is talking about a black quarterback that's athletic and flashy, he always says that they're box office. That's not a compliment. You're basically saying that they're gestures. You're not talking about their talent. They're more than box office. They're productive. They're doing their job.
We get all that. Already 600 yards rushing, en route to a third consecutive 1,000-yard rushing season, which, by the way, no quarterback has done. He haven't even had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, let alone 3 in a row. And he's en route to doing that. We get all of that.
ESPN does not want me on their show because I would literally nail Stephen A. to the cross. I would literally ask him, how come you only talk about Lamar Jackson's rushing stats? You never say that he's on pace to throw for 4,000. You never say that. You only talk about his rushing stats as if he's just a running quarterback. The dude throws way better than a lot of quarterbacks. But Stephen A. Smith never talks about that, and it has nothing to do with the fact that he's a Steelers fan because Ryan Clark played for the Steelers, yet he always defends Lamar Jackson.
Here's why I say that you're wrong and you're being too kind. Because at this point in time, it doesn't matter what Lamar Jackson does in the regular season. We all know that. It's about what he does in the postseason. I'm talking to a champion here. I'm talking to a champion.
This is one of the most lazy analysis that I've ever heard on any player. Like, if you're going to be a hater, at least be intellectual and have concrete arguments on why you don't like a player. He literally just said that it does not matter what Lamar Jackson does in the regular season. It's about what he does in the postseason. Well, can you make that argument about every starting quarterback in the NFL? Like, every quarterback, if you ask them, what is the goal of this season? It's to get to the Super Bowl. Nobody will say, oh, I want to play well in the regular season only to screw it up in the playoffs. Like, this makes no sense at all.
At the end of the day,
so what I'm saying to you is this. Even though every game week to week is important, any given Sunday, we understand that about the National Football League. Champions play for what? They play for championships.
And guess what? Defense wins championships. The Ravens do not have a good defense this year. Not only that, they have 20 players that are on injured reserve. I'm sorry, the Ravens do not have a championship caliber team. They have a championship caliber quarterback. And if you watch football and if you play football, you know that that is not enough. In 2011, Eli Manning is the only quarterback that I have seen that took a crappy team to a Super Bowl. But even then, he had Victor Cruz, which was a very good receiver. And their defense did play well in the playoffs. So what I'm saying is Lamar Jackson needs more help from his supporting cast, in which Rob Ninkovich mentioned earlier in the show.
Is in the regular season. And so when we look at Lamar Jackson, the reason why I keep bringing this up, and I don't know why I continuously have to prove this point, it's not like it's Tom Brady who's going to leave in a couple of years, or Drew Brees who was on his way out. Not to say that Lamar Jackson went against them in the postseason. I'm saying Patrick Mahomes is only 26. Josh Allen was 25. Okay? Joe Burrow's coming. Okay? If everybody wants to make noise about Baker Mayfield in Cleveland, go ahead and do it. All right? All I'm trying to say to you is that there are young bloods in the AFC that are expected to be in the postseason that are going to be standing directly in the way of the Baltimore Ravens.
And it's funny, out of all the quarterbacks that you mentioned, only Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson are better. Not only that, all the other teams that you mentioned have a way better roster than the Baltimore Ravens. I'm sorry. Your argument is weaker than my erection.
And if we want to talk about the parts around him that don't necessarily get it done, well, you do enough to win the games during the regular season, right? So that means the expectation is going to be for you to do it in the postseason. And when you don't do it, even though it may not be your fault because we're looking at the pieces around you, that ain't what we're going to remember. We're going to remember that Lamar Jackson went to the postseason and he went home.
Nope. Only the media picks and choose the star players as a memory for a team's failures and successes. But real fans, we see all the details that the media never mentions. So once again, you're still making a weak argument. Why do you think Tampa Bay got all those pieces to get to the Super Bowl last year? Why do you think the Rams are trying to buy a Super Bowl with getting all these Pro Bowl players? Because they know the quarterback position is not enough, no matter how good he is. Football is a team sport in which Stephen A. has never played before.
Nobody gonna want to hear that. We're gonna look right at Lamar Jackson and we're gonna ask, did you get it done or didn't you?
And to Stephen A. Smith, that goes for all quarterbacks. So if Joe Burrow or Baker Mayfield or Josh Allen or Justin Herbert loses their first game in the playoffs, I want you to have the same energy and the same attitude.
Simple.
Rob, do you feel like last night was concerning or it was just kind of an ill-prepared trap game? Because we saw a couple good teams lose this past week as well.
No, I think having wide open receivers running wheel routes through your defense is concerning.
Thank you. That's what I just said.
If you're going to be a playoff team and you're going to win playoff games, you can't. It's not just one-on-one. It's not Lamar versus the other quarterback.
That is my point exactly. Thank you, Rob Ninkovich. Football is a team sport. I've said it throughout my channel for years. Lamar is leading his team in rushing and passing, then his defense sucks. So what's the point?
Quarterback.
Okay.
It is. You need a defense that plays well, right? You need a defense that doesn't let people run through the center or run a wheel route through a zone, and the second guy through the zone, nobody covers them. They don't even see him. So those are issues that when the games are on the line and it's a playoff game, one play. That's what decides playoff games.
ESPN is funny. I think they paid Stephen A. Smith all that money to show the world what a joke he is. That's why a lot of these analysts are challenging him. It's like, you're getting paid this money, let's see what you're worth. And Stephen A. Smith is fool's gold.
Is this signing about box score or box office?
It's about box office. It's an easy one.
And this is why Stephen A. Smith is a dumbass.
And I mean, Tim Tebow can't possibly disagree. Mr. Box Office himself. I mean, there's nothing to talk about here.
Tim Tebow's face says it all. He's like, dude, shut the hell up. You're not funny.
Cam Newton didn't have the greatest year last year, even though he completed 65% of his passes in the 15 games he played for the New England Patriots. We all know COVID was crazy last year, really, really interrupted and threw a monkey wrench into the 2020 season. And
Despite what a lot of people may think, last year, Cam Newton had a good year, especially playing with that New England Patriots offense, an offense that Tom Brady did not even want to play for. That's why he left to a star-studded Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. Come on. If Cam Newton did not get COVID, New England would have been 9-7 or 8-8 at best. That Patriots offense last year, he had no weapons. I mean, it was just pathetic.
NFL season, we got all of that. And then obviously he lost out on the job to Mac Jones this year. Cam Newton has never been an elite passer. He's been an elite athlete. He's been an elite performer. But he has never been the most accurate passer.
That is Stephen A. Smith's favorite argument when it comes to athletic mobile quarterbacks. He wasn't accurate. He couldn't throw. He was a good athlete. Bro, Cam Newton took the Panthers to a Super Bowl with Ted Ginn as his #1 receiver. Kelvin Benjamin was lazy. Kelvin Benjamin did not have success for any other teams other than the Panthers, which means that Cam Newton was producing as a passer. Greg Olsen was his best receiver on that team. Stephen A. Smith is the type of guy that just looks at completion percentage and thinks, oh, he's not accurate. No, Cam Newton took more shots down the field more often than not. He just never had consistent weapons. Patrick Mahomes does not have a high completion percentage because he takes more shots down the field. That completion percentage stat is kind of strange because it's a bigger story to it. If your receivers are dropping passes or if your quarterback is taking more shots down the field, then your completion percentage is going to go low. But when you got analysts that work for Disney, yes, ESPN is owned by Disney. We all know that. So these are Disney employees. I don't care what nobody says. These analysts do not get into details about the players that they hate. They just generalize everything. So the viewer is confused and they're like, oh, Cam Newton is inaccurate. No, look at the big picture.
In the world, let's understand that. The reason why that's important is because when you look at this situation with Carolina, if he was, and if they had believed in him, they would have never let him go. Now, in fairness to Cam Newton, in 2018, they were off to a 6-2 start. Norv Turner was the offensive coordinator. Cam Newton looked absolutely phenomenal. He hurt his shoulder in that 9th game, I believe, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they proceeded to lose 7 straight because he was never the same, and he ultimately sat out for the rest of the season.
Notice how Stephen A. Smith starts to talk lower because he realized that he basically just exposed himself. He said that Cam Newton, which I mentioned, never was the same after he got hit by TJ Watt, which tells you that Cam Newton was getting better as a passer with good coaching. After the Carolina Panthers drafted Christian McCaffrey, it took a lot of pressure off Cam Newton. So the Panthers had a 6-2 start because Cam Newton finally had a more solid team, especially a more solid offense. So what does that say about Cam Newton as a quarterback?
When you really, really think about it, he's about 3 years removed from really being himself. Why would Matt Rule in Carolina bring him there?
This team wants to win. And this team moving forward wants to win. And they want to win now, and they want to win this year, and they want to win next year, and they want to win. And so this isn't about anything other than winning. And, I think that's the only reason why Cam's coming here, because he wants to win.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer.
In for a Panthers touchdown.
But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
I mean, come on. Need I say more? Like, Cam Newton is a winner more than an entertainer. But Stephen A. Smith is trying to act like Cam Newton is just there for entertainment purposes only. No, Stephen A. Smith, you're on ESPN for entertainment purposes only, and you're not entertaining us. You're uneducating the masses and the youth with your ignorance, and I can't tolerate it anymore, and a lot of people are catching on to your BS.
So good.
No,
Hey,
we're good, we're good.
Hold on. Stephen A., we got to back up. Stephen A., we got to back up for a second because, hey, a lot of people might not have caught it, but I caught a little
Tim on
jab
the
you
show.
threw in there about the old box office. You know, hey, maybe it was, but I do remember at least I remember one box score against Pittsburgh. I don't know, but it's just hit my memory.
Like I said, when Stephen A. Smith calls these quarterbacks box office, it's not a compliment, and Tim Tebow caught on to that. I told you, Tim Tebow knows. A lot of people know that Stephen A. is full of shit. That's why ESPN is keep challenging Stephen A. Smith by bringing real analysts on the show. I also like how Tim Tebow subtly took a jab at Stephen A. Smith when he talked about how the Broncos beat the Steelers in the playoffs. That was clever.
Matt Rule said, and I think there's one thing that he said that is so vital and critical and important.
Okay.
Healthy. healthy, healthy. If Cam Newton is healthy, he's still special. I really believe that. And I believe that he's been training like crazy for an opportunity. And is he box office? Yes. But that doesn't mean that he's not box score.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, character has no color. You see Tim Tebow defending his black brother in Cam Newton, Rob Ninkovich defending Lamar Jackson. Meanwhile, Stephen A. Smith always has something negative to say about Cam Newton, LeBron James, Lamar Jackson, Kyrie Irving. Stephen A. Smith does not like a confident male because Stephen A. Smith is a sellout. Stephen A. Smith kisses ass. Cam Newton doesn't kiss ass. Terrell Owen doesn't kiss ass. Kyrie Irving doesn't kiss ass. Lamar Jackson doesn't kiss ass. Giannis. Like, all these players don't kiss ass, and these are the players that Stephen A. Smith chooses to hate. Come on now.
We don't care, we don't care.